Hey everybody, Jason here. Today we're going to do a review on the TLR 22T 2.0. So let's crack the box open and then we'll get on with the review. Okay, so I got my hands on the new TLR 22T 2.0. I've always thought stadium truck was a cool class. Most of the locals at my track have been running dirt webs on their stuff. We were out of dirt webs because those babies are on like intergalactic backorder or whatever. So I got some clay chain links. And I guess we'll go ahead and cut this thing open so I can get started with the build. So, of course, we've got the trusty bat knife. We won't use both sides today because there's just no need. Let's see what we got here. Just kind of cut the edges here and get this thing opened up. See what you get. I don't know if you guys can see the price on this thing, but it'll run you about 299 bucks, give or take. And my local hobby shop is usually really competitive on pricing, and so I haven't seen it any less expensive anywhere else. So we got rid of the shrink wrap, and then of course we got to crack open break the seal, and boom, that's what you get. So I'm sure you guys can already kind of see. Looks like comes with yellow wheels, bag E, the D bag, shock fluid, springs, shock bodies, all that stuff. Now this is kind of interesting. Check this out. Body number 1, body number 2. Now that's pretty gnarly. You can see you can see the big difference is where the shock tower is located. Obviously this is a mid-motor body and this is a rear motor body. And I just thought it was really cool that they actually sent both bodies. I think that's a big deal. I have a Kyosho stadium truck, the RT6, and it came with no body, which is kind of a bummer, especially for as expensive as that thing is. But of course all the rest of the stuff. The TLR stuff it's been packaged well, it assembles well. I've built a couple of their kits now and I'm a fan. I think it's good stuff. I definitely do. I think it works well. It's packaged well. And so motor parts. Of course, this is the familiar chassis that you've seen over and over and across all the different platforms. It's got that same, it's a 7075 and it's got that nice kind of brown or tan hard anodized finish on it. And of course, what do we got here? Looks like it's got some tuning parts for anti-squat and stuff like that. And of course, stickers, antenna tube, all that kind of stuff. So that's it. That's the unboxing of a Losi 22T 2.0. Let's get this sucker built and get it on the track. All right, so I just showed you exactly what you get when you crack open the box on your TLR 22T 2.0. Here is my personal race truck, and I've had really, really good luck with this thing. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll pull the body off just to show you what I have going on in my truck, and then I'll tell you what I think of the performance, the on-track handling, and all that kind of stuff. Now, I've ran this truck quite a bit, both in race environments and just practicing, and I've actually played with the setup a little bit, but what I've really found is that for the most part, the stock setup is really, really close to being about as good as it's going to get. This is the stock body, and you can see I really, really like the stock body. It has like that kind of like middle-of-the-road cab. It doesn't have that crazy cab forward look. I like the body, but I have to say this. Whoever designed this wing should be paddled. This thing actually fits in here like this. And unfortunately, it's really complex. It's hard to get in there. Mine has already started to rip. And unfortunately, they don't even sell them separately. So you're kind of SOL once your wing is toast. But either way, it really doesn't make a difference because I know guys like Jason Rohn over there at J Concepts, they're working on a new finisher body. And I saw it on Mayfield's truck at Cactus and it looked really nice. So I'm sure that's what I'll end up with in time. But anyways, here's the body and here's my actual truck. Now, it's a little bit messy. Let me get these little white discs off here that I use to protect the body. Somebody had said to me when I was club racing the other day, "Man, that thing bottoms out really bad." Well, clearly it doesn't bottom out really bad. The chassis is like brand new and I don't even run a tape. But the body was just loose and it was just rattling and it was really loud. So I run the little blue foam donuts from, I think, Yeah Racing up front and then just little plastic discs in the back. So anyways, long story short, this is a Team Orion R10 Pro. This is not the newest R10.1. It's just an R10 Pro. Works really well. I'm running an rcjuice.com shorty battery. This is a Savox 1258. And this particular platform, the 22 platform, it's really servo sensitive when you start using the steering bell cranks. So on this particular kit, I'm actually using the aluminum servo mount. And there's there's just like a little hair of clearance. You won't be able to see on the video, I'm sure, but it's super tight. There's just a hair of clearance, but there is enough. So, and then it has an LRP 13.5 motor. And I think it's really under geared right now. I think it's like 2382 or something like that. I actually talked to JD, the LRP team manager, and he gave me a different gearing recommendation. But at the time I was already at the track. And so it's just a little bit faster than a 17.5 truck, but either way, it's a blast to drive. So that's what I have in the truck. Other than that, I guess we'll just run through my quick setup. I'm basically running a completely factory setup when it comes to like springs, pistons, stuff like that. This kit actually comes with 2-hole 1.5s and 2-hole 1.6s, and it comes with machined pistons. So it's all stock with the exception that I added 1 millimeter of ball stud washer up here in the front. I added the brass pivot right here. I don't know if you can see it that good on that side. I think you can see it better on this side. You can see the brass pivot right here. And I went down to 27.5 in the rear. So that's it. 1 ball stud washer, the brass pivot, and 27.5 in the rear. And this thing is just, it's really, really good. And as you can see, I'm running AKA chain links with the red AKA inserts, and they've been really good. Now, I haven't got to run this truck with both tires yet, but I have driven friends T5Ms, and I've driven the truck literally back to back with broken in dirt webs and broken in chain links. And there is no question that at my home track, the dirt web, it just edges out the chain link by a couple of tenths in hot lap. So not a mile by any means, and it's maybe not necessarily the difference between winning and losing, but I do think that the dirt web is just a smidge faster at my home track. I wish I had a set for this truck, but right now the dirt web is pretty much on intergalactic back order. You can't get them on eBay, A-Main, Tower, not even the J-Concepts website. So when dirt webs are available, I'll put them on the truck and give it a try. So, all right, so that's my truck. Let's get into the handling and performance characteristics of this bad boy. Okay, before we get into the handling and performance characteristics, let's talk a little bit about the build. The build on this kit was a lot like the build on my 22 buggy. Everything pretty much fit really well. There were no parts missing, nothing like that. I've had one issue with this kit, and I'll show it to you if I can. Basically, the wheels actually had like these little bubbles in them. I don't know how well the camera will pick up on all this, but the wheels had these little bubbles in them, and it really didn't affect performance because before I glued up tires, I actually bolted the wheels on and spun them to make sure that they spun true, and that was fine. But I will tell you, even after I started posting pictures of this kit being built on Facebook, I have been contacted by other people telling me that they've had bent dog bones and a couple of bits and pieces missing. So it's kind of nice to see that these companies are mortal. It's not just one company that kind of struggles, but either way, if you do have problems, I've already talked to a couple of guys over there at TLR, and they just said, hey, look, call customer service and they'll get you sorted out right away without any issues. So other than that, the build went really good. I like the way these kits build. I like the plastics. The instructions are good. Just overall, I feel like it's a good build experience. There's nothing that's super complicated or anything that's super unclear. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I would really gripe about on this kit for the build, and I really don't think there is. Yeah, so I guess at the end of the day, I'm pretty happy with the build. I don't really have any gripes. It's nice to see that this thing comes with a steering rack. And I mean, for $299, it's a great value, but we'll talk about value at the end of the video. So build, very good, no complaints, happy to rock it. So, all right, let's get on to other characteristics. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about jumping and landing. The 22 series of vehicles, I feel like they jump and land better than pretty much any other vehicle out there. And it's kind of interesting. I had a conversation with one of the engineers from another car company, or he used to be an engineer for another car company when I was at Cactus this year. And I told him, I said, look, I think that the larger diameter shock shaft makes a big difference in the way the car lands. And his argument was, you know, he said that they had tried doing some testing. Another company had tried doing some testing. What they found is that because you need a thicker shock shaft, you need more air in the shock. So they felt like a thicker shock shaft actually created less damping or less pack. But I don't know if it's the heat. Obviously, if these shafts get warm at all, air expands more than a fluid. I don't know what it is, but I just know this. These kits, whether it's the shocks, the shock shafts, the geometry, whatever it is, they just tend to land with the same piston and oil package. They just tend to land better than a lot of the other platforms. So jumping and landing is very good. The car is very planted, and I'm overall very happy with it. So, okay, cornering. You know, a lot of times driving like the 22 2.0, the 22.4, this 22T 2.0, when I'm actually on the track, a lot of times the cars feel slower, like through the corner, but the lap times never, it just never happens. The lap times are always either on pace or better than even with a lot of my other cars. Just to give you an example, like my Kyosho RT6 and my RB6, which I like both those cars a ton, but when they're on the track, they feel aggressive. They're always a little skatey. They're always not super ultra predictable. But with the low-C stuff, it just feels like it's always really predictable. Like I can just push it harder and harder and harder, and the rear end slides the same amount every time if you want it to slide. And it just, sometimes it gets a little frustrating because it almost feels lazy to me. But overall, I mean, it's just been really fast, and the car carries through the corner really, really well. The out-of-the-box setup is phenomenal on this kit. I think that if you have a smooth indoor clay track, the out-of-the-box setup is going to be so ridiculously close to going as fast as you're going to go, you'll really be surprised. You know, with one caveat, I would say add that rear brass pivot, but we'll talk about upgrades and stuff in the end. So overall, cornering in this thing, good corner speed for sure, easy to drive, very predictable. I'm a fan. All right. Okay, straight line acceleration. And this is really about, you know, after you've got the car into the corner, it's rounded the corner really clean, really smooth. It's carried this speed, and then you mash it to get out of the corner. This is one area where I didn't notice this so much in the buggy, but I do notice it more in the truck, and maybe it's because there's so much more front tire. But the truck definitely seems to have a little bit of a waggle sometimes getting out of the corner. And I've tried lowering the roll center, raising the rear roll center, just kind of goofing off, just trying to see if I can get the car to just be a little bit more consistent for me exiting the corner. And I'm going to be completely honest with you, it very well could be tires. It could be just a tire issue. I might not have the absolute perfect tire for my track, but at the end of the day, as long as you keep this thing rolling, you can just roll into the throttle pretty aggressively. I would find it hard to drive this particular setup with like say a 7.5. But if you're, let's say, an 8.5 to anything less than an 8.5, like an 8.5 with no timing, you'll probably be just fine. But I would definitely consider adding the brass pivot. I know I mentioned it earlier, and I'm going to mention it again, but I really feel like the brass pivot does make a difference at helping the rear end just kind of plant those rear tires when you're really trying to get that straight line acceleration. Some of the other trucks I've driven, like the T5M, they seem to generate a little bit more forward bite. I have no idea why. I'm not an engineer. I couldn't tell you what the geometry or the differences in geometry really are, but I just know that when I first got this truck, as the tires were coming in, it really wanted to walk around aggressively on power, and now as the tires have got better and better, it does it less and less. So I'm sure that tires are definitely a part of it, but I think there's more to the story. So, you know, if I had to rate straight line acceleration or straight line grip from 1 to 10, I'd rate it like maybe a 7, right? That's where I'm at. Maybe it'll get better, maybe it won't. I do know that going down to 27.5 in the rear shocks definitely made it better. And I might even try going down 1 spring rate, and then it may be all but solved. But anyways, I'm talking about out of the box with the tires I have at, you know, my local track. So your results may vary a little bit, but probably not too much. Okay, so if you were going to buy this truck, what needs to be upgraded today? I would say nothing. Nothing needs to be upgraded today at all. If you were going to spend a couple of bucks, what would I spend a couple of bucks on? I would say if you're going to spend money on anything, buy some 27.5 rear shock oil and buy this brass pivot. Go buy the TLR one, buy the one from Rocket RC, buy whichever one you want to buy. This is the 25 gram, and it allows you to use 1 degree down to 1 degree anti-squat. Rocket RC has a couple of different blocks now that are even heavier, and they have built-in anti-squat, so that's totally up to you. I personally like to be able to change the anti-squat on my vehicles because I think it's a really big change, especially depending on the grip level. But what do you need? I really like that. I like the aluminum servo mounts, though I don't think that they're absolutely necessary by any means, and that's really about it. I mean, this thing is just, it's a good kit right out of the box. And so as far as like upgrades that you would have to have, I would say you don't need anything, but I would spend a couple bucks and get yourself that brass rear pivot. Okay, value. You know, value is something that's really kind of been at the forefront of my mind lately. When I buy kits, it's a big deal, right? What you get in a kit is a big deal. But see, value isn't just plastic and metal. Value is the engineering. It's the assembly process. It's the, you know, if you buy a kit, let's just say you can go buy one of these kits for 199 bucks and you get everything on every add-on part the car has. But if you break it, you can't even fix it, right? You have to order stuff from Japan. So When it comes to value, I look at it two ways. I look at it like, what am I getting value-wise, and like the whole global experience of owning the vehicle. I think that right now, the 22T 2.0, when it comes to like just stuff that you're getting in the box, it is pretty much leaps and bounds above everybody else in terms of value. You get the same aluminum chassis that you get with the RT6 and the T5M. You get the same mid-motor and rear motor configuration that you get with the RT6, whereas the T5M is only mid-motor. It comes with wheels. T5M doesn't come with wheels. It comes with two bodies, mid-motor and rear motor body. The Kyosho truck comes with no body. So at the end of the day, there's no question in my mind that you're just getting more. I mean, it has machined pistons front and rear, aluminum shocks with aluminum shock caps. When you buy the TLR 22T 2.0, if you're a Losi fan, you're getting more for your money in hard items, you know, in metal and plastic, right? When it comes to setups, there's no question that the T5M and the 22T 2.0, the setups that come in the box are literally leaps and bounds better than my Kyosho Stadium truck. Now, keep this in mind. Any of these trucks the setups can be changed to suit any specific track surface, any specific driving style, but out of the box, there's no question that I think that the 22T is the best value for what you're getting in the box. So what's the bottom line when it comes to value? You're getting more in the box, you're getting a great kit setup, and I think it's gonna be hard, if not impossible, to beat by any of these other manufacturers. Okay, so what's the conclusion? I guess I'll just say this. I think it's a great truck. It's priced super competitively, comes with two bodies. You can set it up mid-motor, rear motor, comes with wheels in the box. Overall, it's a great kit at a great value. TLR is a good brand. They're all over the country. I have no complaints. If I had to complain about anything, and I've already said it in the beginning, I like the way the body looks, hate the way the wing was designed. That wing is the hardest thing in the world to cut out, and you don't even have replacements for it. So if you murder the wing by itself, you either have to kind of jimmy one up, or you have to just buy a whole new body. Now, I know it's not the end of the world because companies like Proline and J Concepts are already working on bodies for this specific kit. That's been my review on the TLR 22T 2.0. I like this truck. I've kicked major butt with this truck. I'll put up some timesheets, and yeah, I'm a fan. So that's it. See you guys in the next one. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Hey, by the way, before you leave, I just want to say thanks again for watching my videos. I only make these videos so that we can have fun together. By the way, you'd be doing me a big favor if you could either comment, like, or even better, subscribe to my channel. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.